I've been kind of pissed off about how people are talking about Nikola Jokic now.
I feel you.
I think the first series where he goes down 0-2 against the Timberwolves, now we're discrediting his finals run. He wins a third MVP, and Shaq tells him that he thought SGA should have won it. You know, respect to Shaq for saying it to his face, but I feel like that was disrespectful.
That was
disrespectful. You know, Jokic is an all-time great player in this league. He already has built up an all-time great resume, and I feel like to shoot him down is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I understand the argument for SGA. Listen, I think the MVP race was close, but at the end of the day, how are you going to use seeding for OKC? Oh, they were the first seed and Denver was the second seed when they finished with the exact same record. Yeah. They both won 57 games. It's not like OKC won one more game or three more. The seeding literally came down to a tiebreaker. So using that, he was the first seed versus the second seed. This is why he's MVP. No. Who had the most productive season? It was Nikola Jokic. Who had more injuries they had to endure? It was Nikola Jokic. The Denver Nuggets with Jamal Murray, he missed about 30 games this year. And nobody on OKC in a top five missed that many games. Jokic had to survive games without Jamal Murray. And like I said, they had the same exact record as OKC. The fact that we are now starting to discredit Nikola Jokic and what he's done because of a couple of playoff losses and because he won an MVP, I just think it's ridiculous just because you think somebody may have deserved it. Nikola Jokic doesn't deserve this type of talk. He's an all-time great.
I'm with you absolutely 100%. Last postseason was one of the most dominant runs we've ever seen. And coming in, people want to bash him and every chance they could have gotten. And a lot of it is comparison. That's the ultimate thief of joy. Embiid versus Jokic. Embiid versus Giannis versus Jokic. And it's funny to me. Jokic this postseason has struggled with turnovers in game one. He's shooting 28% from three-point land. But coming to this postseason, he was up there with some of the greatest three-point shooters of all time in the postseason, making 41% of them. In this postseason series versus Minnesota, it's partially been Denver getting exposed, them not playing with as much energy or intensity. It's also tough, too, to go back to an NBA championship, and you can see that the last 5 NBA champs, none of them went back to the conference finals. And the Nuggets last postseason cemented themselves as not only an NBA, obviously they won an NBA championship, but that entire team had a lot to prove, and that pressure created a diamond for all those players. And Jokic specifically, I think, established himself as a top 25 player to ever live. If he could add more All-NBA cases, he did that this year at the third MVP. And for the race itself, you're 100% right. The three-man, race between Luka, Shea, and Jokic was incredibly tight. Luka had the most points. 34 a game is absurd. He was also a fifth seed and not in the same tier as Oklahoma City and Denver.
No did he.
My MVP was Nikola, but a large part of that was just the value, and basically the MVP award to me comes down to who was most essential to their team. And to me, that was Jokic. The Nuggets had a plus 24-point differential, whereas the Thunder had a plus 10-point differential without Shea. You compare those two teams' benches, it's night and day. Cason Wallace, Jalen Williams, Aaron Wiggins, and many other guys like Kenrich Williams versus Peyton Watson, Reggie Jackson,
Isaiah Joe,
and Christian.
Reggie still got a little wiggle to him.
Sorry,
you know?
I knew I was forgetting someone.
Yeah, Isaiah Joe.
There's so many of them. There's 5 guys. They go 10 people deep. With the Nuggets, Jamal Murray struggled this postseason, and Reggie Jackson's the one playing poorly. There's not a single guy on that bench you can really count on. Maybe Christian Brown. So Jokic was deserving of MVP, and I don't know why you're laughing. Did I say something crazy? Apparently I did, but I think Nikola Jokic getting dismissed as the MVP, the same exact thing we saw 2 years ago, and then he went on to win a championship a year later. It's simply ridiculous, bro. It's getting out of hand.
You said
What did I say?
I think what he said.
Said
You went
10
10
guys
guys deep.
That's what you said.
I only
Why
laugh
is
because
it
Joel.
every time I say something remotely sensual, y'all turn to something that's not
Joel
sensual?
looked at Dell, so just like,
Come on,
did he
bro.
say that?
Before the show, they were doing this too. I can't catch a break anytime.
Now
I
you were
say
saying
something.
some crazy shit. earlier.
10-man rotation.
10 men
You go
deep.
10 guys.
10 men
deep.
deep is fake crazy. It's fake crazy.
That's too wild because you know exactly
He
what
said-
I'm
he
saying.
said earlier.
Sometimes Mark Dagnall goes 10 guys deep.
Listen, shout out,
exactly what I mean.
shout out to the
You said
Joker.
Anthony Edwards. He's coming. He's coming.
yeah.
I said, what?
Shout out to the Joker. 3 MVPs is crazy. Can you guys name the other 7 players who have 3 or more MVPs? There's 8 of them.
Michael Jordan.
Let's start with the players that won 3 in a row. Larry Bird,
Yes.
Wilt Chamberlain.
Yes.
Moses Malone.
Yes.
I've seen this list.
Now
Yeah.
we're at 4.
So then don't talk.
You said
Okay.
MJ, LeBron. He's
Yes.
got 4. That's 5.
Yes.
You said there's 7, so there's 2.
I don't know if I
There's
remember all of
There's
them, but I remember Moses
There's
Malone.
3
I was like, oh,
more.
shit.
And Moses
Larry
has 3.
Bird.
Larry has
Said
3.
Oh, I named it Larry already.
Okay.
So Moses
I think.
there's 3 people tied with 3. Moses, you said, and Larry, you said.
Magic.
Magic also has 3.
So they're at 6.
That's 876.
Kareem
is at 1. He has 6.
You said LeBron?
Yes,
Oh,
LeBron
it's
is
funny
at
we
4.
ain't
He has 4. Somebody is tied with him.
I want to say Bill Russell. But I don't
Shaq.
Bill Russell's at 3 with 5.
Okay.
Shaq is not at 3.
Right. I didn't know how
we
many.
need one more, right?
You said everybody.
Oh, we said everybody.
So Kareem is at 1 with 6 MVPs.
Yeah, we should have gotten that.
Number 2 is MJ with 5. Number 3 is Bill with 5. Number 4 is Braun, 4. Wilt also has 4. Then you got Magic, Larry, Moses with 3. So basically, this nobody has done this since the old guys. Like in the 2000 eras, 2010s, Steph was close. LeBron. Oh, and of course LeBron did it. But outside of that, Kobe's never done it. Tim's never done it. Dirk, KG, these guys have never done it. So Joker's putting himself in impressive, high up, comfortably.
Tim Duncan didn't even do it. He was 1 championship shy of Michael Jordan.
So I think most importantly is that Nikola Jokic belongs in that list. He belongs with those names. He's not an outlier in that. Like people would want to assume.
Where would you rank
he
him?
belongs
Steve
there.
Nash, people will do that.
You.
Even then, it's not fair for Nash.
Where would you rank him?
He's not over Michael Jordan. He's not over LeBron James.
This is Jokic?
Yeah.
You could start his case at 4.
He's not over Magic Johnson.
After Kareem.
He's not over Larry Bird. He's not over Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's 5 right there.
Jokic,
Steph's not on this list.
When you say
my
Jokic
apologies. I thought he was just saying all time.
Isn't over Larry Bird, do you mean that in greatness and legacy, or do you mean that in their individual play?
I think it's everything. I don't think nobody's listing Jokic all time over Larry Bird.
No, because Larry Bird's a greater
10.
player.
He's top 10.
But Jokic to me is if Larry Bird had gained 50 pounds and had strength and power that no one else could rival in the post.
Maybe Jokic is a better version of Larry Bird. I think players now are better than before.
Of course,
undeniably.
Yeah.
But Larry
Bird today would be a much more versatile player.
Larry would be just as great. I think Larry, if you just plug him in.
I think Shaq Shaq was here, right? Or
Shaq was not here. No, I think he only has 2.
Yeah,
Moses Malone, I think I'll put Jokic over Moses Malone.
No, Shaq has 1, I'm pretty sure.
That's the one I put over. I put over some on the list.
And 2000.
I think Moses Malone is the one that comes off the list for Jokic, or he's ahead of Moses Malone.
I love Bill Russell too, but I think Jokic might be the better player.
Probably.
Well, yeah, but like Jokic didn't make the impact Bill Russell had on his era.
On his era,
Bill Russell had that era in the chokehold. It was also different, though. It's a different game.
Like a quarter of the teams.
Bill Russell's one of the greatest defenders known to man.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Just different NBA.
That's why, like, for like a greatness standpoint, Bill Russell's still over. I think Jokic is over Moses Malone.
You got to know, relative to era.
Yeah, if we're talking about like who's better, like pound for pound, Jokic might be top 4. I think Michael Jordan, LeBron James is over him. Kareem is probably over him.
Magic.
And then
I would have Jokic.
I'll put Bird. I think Bird is a better player.
He's probably top 5.
A better player than Magic to me. But.
I think Bird is a better player than Magic. So if you have him on
he's like all time. He's probably around top 20. Yeah. I think
that's what Jokic is. And I feel like, people are quick to disrespect just because he's losing some playoff games. That's why I hope it doesn't come back to bite everybody disrespecting him because, like you said, they've come back from 3-1 deficits before
back-to-back
twice in the same run. And I feel like that's why I agree with you in regards to this championship conversation we had a little bit earlier. I think the winner of this series, Denver and Minnesota, wins the championship. Yeah. Because if Minnesota wins it, that means they just had one of the most impressive series wins. If Denver wins it, that means they're playing out of their minds.
It is just like Bucks Nets in 2021. Same exact thing to me.
Oh, yeah, I get the same feeling from that, too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think the MVP, like, the hostiliness. I don't know. What word?
Hostility, my brother.
Hostility.
Animosity.
Thank you. Animosity. Just for years, it's just been so weird. And
it's kind of pointless.
I don't know, maybe because Tatum has never been in that top 3 conversation. Never been a player.
He's always top 5, though.
He's top 5, but that
never.
That,
top
first
3.
of all,
never winning it.
First of all, that was never my points.
Oh, my fault.
Never my points. I was
never winning it.
Oh my god!
You picked him for MVP this year.
Oh, did I?
You did.
You did, bro.
Did I?
You did. 1,000%. Because I heard you say, and I was like,
after
really?
Joel mentioned it, you laughed at him, and then you named him as Zero.
Yes.
I did.
Yes. People in the comments like, what is he doing?
Yeah,
but ultimately, the case for Tatum winning is exactly what happened outside of him having an elite season.
Yeah.
Because we all knew that his team would be the best in the league. If he could match that, with an MVP season, he would have been MVP.
But the reason why I was going at that is because maybe it's because there's just not a player I truly have, like, I really care about Jokic. I really care about SJ. Like, none of these guys are like my favorite players in the league. Because typically when you have Jokic versus Embiid debates, it's always the 1,000 fanboys that love Jokic versus the 1,000 fanboys that love Embiid. So maybe I'm just not that entrenched or ever that type of fan that really cares that much, especially when it's this close. I think there's been some years where you have a player, I don't want to name anyone out, but you have historic seasons and they kind of get pushed up over guys who were either more successful or individually greater. This season, these were the 3 best players in the league. I don't think anyone else is really debating between SGA, Luka, and Nikola Jokic. These were the 3 best. I don't think that was really a debate. So whoever got it, though, was deserving. To have like a real strong opinion that one guy is just leaps and bounds better than the other, it feels like you're just digging in that cookie jar for something because that's your dude and you just really wanted to get it because there's no real like logical arguments you can make for any of these guys to be leaps and bounds better. And I think the other reason is because people just want to see something new. For Shaq's reference that he wanted SGA to win. SGA's never won. To be fair, he's really never been even close to this conversation outside of this season, although he was great last year. They want something new. Just like we saw Embiid win last year, although very deserving. Nikola Jokic got propped down throughout that season. That was the biggest talking point last year was Nikola Jokic or Embiid. And a lot of people's argument for Joel Embiid was, well, Nikola Jokic already won a couple. Or the other argument was Nikola Jokic isn't winning a championship, so he shouldn't get. He hasn't proved it. So I think that's another reason why people like Shaquille O'Neal are saying like I voted for SGA because you almost get bored with Nikola Jokic's greatness. You almost get bored seeing him do the just insane shit that will probably never see a dude of his size ever do again. Maybe Wemby can do it. Actually, now I'm thinking about it. But just to conclude, like all of these guys were deserving. But shout out to Jokic because he's going on a historic run. Like I said, I think he's top 20 of all time, and if he's able to get another ring, which still in the realm of possibility. I don't think Denver's door is closed by any means. I mean, we could really have a top 10 discussion about him.
And I feel as if with the MVP conversation, now like winning in the playoffs has been brought into it.
Yeah.
There's nothing to do with it.
I have the players. What is it that you have?
I wanted to know, are you guys against, because right now the awards are just regular season awards. Why aren't the postseason ever mattered into awards? The postseason matters the most for any arguments we ever have.
It's the finals MVP.
Matters. The only one thing matters in the postseason, that's the championship. But you're right, though. I think it's supposed to verify someone who's already won winning again.
Because say, for example, if the postseason mattered, would Anthony Edwards not be in this discussion? At the end of the year, we just had this discussion. At the end of the year, say Ant wins a chip. You said he's over Luka. He's over SGA already. So why wouldn't he be in the MVP conversation?
It's a quarter of the regular season sample size, so now you're diluting the meaning of the regular season. Because like the regular season and the postseason are 2 separate things to where in the playoffs, that's where a player is going to have the opportunity to win a title. But let's say it's Jimmy Butler, right? Jimmy Butler in 2020 or
we just gave him an MVP.
But I don't think we would have gave Butler MVP
last year.
But if playoffs were being factored,
if he won a championship,
if he won a championship, we was giving him MVP because he played good for 3 weeks.
First team All NBA when he was quite clearly not one of the 5 best players that regular season.
I feel as if you're counting in the postseason, then the MVPs are going to change drastically. In 2019, Kawhi wins MVP. In 2019, Kawhi will win MVP.
See, that's what the Finals MVP is for, because more than likely we're going to give MVP to the guy who probably the best player on the championship team. So that's why you get Finals MVP.
It seems deserving. You win a chip, you deserve.
And now they adding all that ECF MVP shit and W.
Tatum got one.
To add one more thing to
the point I
made before,
people get thing on this hardware.
People get tired of MVP. I love Derrick Rose. A good example is when he won in between LeBron winning back-to-back in 2008 and 09, or 09, 010, and then 12 and 13, because LeBron could have won 5 MVPs because he was the MVP in all 5 of those years.
D-Rose was the new shiny toy in the block. That was a historic year.
To be fair, D-Rose was a deserving MVP candidate.
Noah was out. Boozer was out. We were starting Kurt Thomas.
LeBron fanboys have tried to make it sound like he should have won.
I do know Keith Bogus. Shooting guard.
Was deserving, though.
He had a 3-ball.
Listen, I think he was better, but when you take into account the supporting cast,
I feel like he had a 3-point badge on, not 3, but like the 3-point next to his name.
Derrick Rose is doing what Jalen Brunson is doing now for 80 games. No troll.
But to me, like the Derrick Rose talking point, I don't know exactly what the Bulls' offense ranked when he won MVP, but LeBron was just the quite clearly higher offense. Check that for me. He was quite clearly the higher offensive engine, and that's what it really does come down to.
What I was gonna say is that we've made playoff runs matter with MVPs for some reason when it came to Jokic, but ultimately it really doesn't, because
11th. First in defensive rating.
There's a short list of players that have won MVP and then have won a championship in the same year.
Yeah. Jokic was the first time in like years and years, I want to say, right?
Like it just never happens. With the NFL, Patrick Mahomes was the first last year to cap it off I think, in history.
Facts.
Or in a very long time. It was in history, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, so like it doesn't usually happen where an MVP caps off a playoff run with a
Steph
championship.
should have in 2015. But
Yeah,
he didn't win a Finals
2016. That's the one he should have. It's
2016 he was deserving Finals MVP. But it went to Iggy instead. But that's really the only player you look at, but beyond LeBron and Jordan. That's
Wait,
it.
did I lie? No, I didn't lie.
It was 11th or was it not?
No, Miami was third. That's what I was looking
Okay.
at.
Yeah, and Chicago was 11. So
They also had Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
that's fair. No, you're right about that.
Now, I really do feel like Derrick Rose's case over the years has been undermined when like the team really wasn't all that impressive, and he had no spacing to operate with.
No.
If he played with today's spacing, he's averaging 30.
We ran the same play. It's Derrick Rose gets it, pick and roll, and him do something magical.